Okay, here's the GL2, which you can basically think of as being the 50 watt version. GL13, exactly the same, but with a 100 watt bulb. Be that as it may, this screw on the back is not for beam adjust like on the SL2, which, as you've seen in the beam pattern comparisons, does flood and spot very, very well. This is simply to open the cooling vents on the back, which is particularly relevant for the 100 watt beam and is a good idea. You see the metal construction under there, all very nice. Again, you've got a switch for the little work lamp, which is just an old sort of 5 watt little sort of floodlight, just to help you get over fences and see inside the car and such like, and it's actually really quite useful. And then on the other side you've got the switch for the full beam. Glass construction, everything modular, replaceable, beautifully built, and not as big as something like, bear with me, the 140 here. See the difference? And it gives a really nice beam. So yeah, the other thing that I particularly like about Clulite is standard, you get a coiled hose, an on-off switch, and your choice of plugs. But it isn't expensive to say, I want 2 foot of straight, then I want an inline dimmer, and then I want 3 foot of coil, and then I want whatever attachment on the end. And they will do that. My SL2, which I've got here, which isn't a review sample, this is actually mine, I spec'd it specifically to have, there's the adjuster on the back for the beam. Such a compact little thing. Anyway, I wanted inline rheostat, coil, lots of coil, and then a jack plug. And I think that cost me 15 quid extra. And the usability of being able to specify all of that, the advantages are massive, and that is very impressive on the part of Clulite. I mentioned earlier, clever little thing here, whip it off your rifle and into the socket where the you know, the scope mount goes. You put this little handle, which comes with, pop it in one of the slots, and then adjust the angle to how you want it. Twist it left, do it up to the right, and then it stays there. It's really nicely thought out, that, and that's bundled in with it, so you can use it out of the car at an angle that is convenient for you, according to where your wing mirror is or what you're resting on, or whatever. That really does make them gun lamps, but you know, thoroughly 100% usable and thought out spot lamps as well. So, you know, horses for courses. Useful that that little handle is bundled in. And then when you want it back on the rifle, off with the handle. This superlative clamp is on your scope into one of your slots on the bottom, and that means you can angle which way the cord goes out, because you've got 1, 2, 3, 4 attachments. You can have the cable going out on the right, on the left, wherever you want it, and little things like this make the difference. So you know, well thought out, that, well thought out. So yes, this is the SL2, very compact, 3.5, 4 inches across, glass lens. The flood and spot really does make a difference. This is the only one that I can flood out enough to use on the shotgun. Okay, here we have the 100 watt bulbed, or apparently 2 million candle power blazer light from Clulite. Not adjustable, incandescent bulb. Okay, much warmer. Centre spot, not quite as crisp as an LED can give, but no holes in it. Flawless beam. And then there's a peripheral cone of light around that, like a secondary centre, as you could see there. And then there's some peripheral light spill. There's not a lot, mind. It's so easy to see by, though. That is 75 yards. Those trees behind, 130, 140, 150, going down the hill. There's the horizon at 90. and then maybe even the camera will be able to see this time. Let's have a look. Yeah, those trees down there are the 200-yard trees. Still hard. Yeah, there we go. Oh, that's 200. So it is all over this, all over this. And I can see into the field beyond, which is well over 250 yards going up that hill. Eye shine would pop out there, no problem. So this is a massive abundance of light. Yeah, the camera seems to pick up from about 175. So anyway, that's the size of the beam. No holes in it. Big beam. Really good, bright, flawless centre spot. And it's all yellow and warm, and for me it's a lot easier to see by than an LED. I've just put an LED beside it so you can see. Okay, 100-watt incandescent. And the tiny, portable, long-lasting, efficient LED. See how much whiter it is? It gives less contrast, but you can still see. Smaller, lighter, tougher. You're not going to blow any bulbs. LEDs have got a lot going for them. A hell of a lot going for them. That's the sort of difference. You can see the difference in the beam there. Less overspill with the LEDs. This is almost no peripheral beam. So they are very useful. But for me, I do feel that incandescent bulbs give you better eye shine, especially when you're shooting rabbits and rats like I am, rather than foxes. I think that the frostier, cooler light of the LEDs, whilst it clearly has major advantages in many ways, is at the end of the day, like for like, a little harder to see by than an incandescent bulb. Okay, there we go. Okay, this one is the 50-watt, 1 million candle power blazer light. Same size, same everything, but a 50-watt bulb. It's not as yellow, but it is a lot more yellow and easy to see with, warmer is the phrase, than the LEDs. So 75 yards, no problem. 150, 160, down to 200. To tell the truth, it's just as easy to see by as the 2 million candle power one or the 100-watt one, which is what I've found in the past. Doubling up the wattage of the bulb just creates a load of heat, a load of battery drain, and you get very little more oomph downrange. So this is, I think, the sweet spot, a good 50-watt bulb. But the beam pattern, exactly the same as the bigger one. Very, very good. This is the SL2, much smaller, from Clulite, but it has an adjustable beam, 50 watts, an adjustable beam which the blazer lights don't have. Now I think that spot is nearly as tight, maybe a bit bigger, but it's perfectly clean, no holes in it, flawless. 75 yards, no problem. 130, 40, 50, no problem at all. 175, 180, 190 all down there. 200-yard line, no problem. Yeah. Maybe it's not powering up the hill 250 plus like the 2 million candle power 100-watt bulbed one did, but there's not a lot in it. Maybe 30 yards. Nice and easy to see by. Nice and compact. Okay, so that's the spot. Now you can also do this on it. See it getting wider? Okay, so we're starting to get a hole in the beam there. Okay, but it must be said that is a huge beam. That's like the lead lenses on flood. The lead ends are torches on flood. That's absolutely capable of shotgun work. Even if I tighten it up to get rid of the hole there, that's still a 25-yard beam at 30 yards, that sort of thing. That's a big beam. There's our 75-yard trees, and it's lighting half that fence line up. There's a big wide beam that, and you're not getting a big hole in it. Okay, so that's flawless, and it goes right in, not to a pencil beam, but to a good tight spot like the others were giving, the blazer lights were giving. Very versatile, very small, SL2 50 watt, like that a lot. Okay, here we have a comparison of the SL2 from Clulite on the right and the similar power, the 50 watt, but physically larger blazer light. This one is adjustable from spot to flood and really genuinely useful at both. This one isn't adjustable but is physically larger. Yeah, our blazer light is just a shade brighter and cleaner, but it is quite a bit larger physically. The 140 tracer can't live with either of them, although it has the advantage of having a tiny pencil beam in the middle, which some people like. But yeah, these two are very close. I suppose it depends on whether you like the lamp to be small and whether you need the adjustability. The SL2 is smaller, lighter, and very adjustable. This one, the blazer light, is a bit bigger and not adjustable, but it does have an incredible beam for the power, for the 50 watts. So that's just flawless. 200 yards, bump, no problem. You see a can of Coke down there. Very good. Okay, on the left we've got the SL2, adjusted reasonably tight, and on the right we've got the Sport 140. Sport 140's got that tiny tight pencil in the middle, which is as bright. And the SL2, bigger beam, similar brightness, and adjustable. And then that's like a little pencil scanner in the middle there. Okay, but they're the same sort of power. So to give you an idea, here is the SL2 on top of a Zeiss Duralight 3-12. The 50mm. It's my Remy, my 1022. Okay, dimmer attached to the side there. Here you've got the little twiddly knob that adjusts the beam, and as you can see from the beam tests, it gives not only a holeless wide beam that's fantastic for shotgun work. I mean, it really does, if you wish, give you this lovely wide beam, very significantly wider and fuller than the larger Deben there, but it also goes to a nice spot that you can really see a long way with. Depends entirely on the light conditions, but you know, hundreds of yards. You've got this multi-adjustable clamping system. This here, all this gunk, okay, is glue. I fill all of the holes where cables go into boxes with vulcanizing solution that you fix mountain bike tubes with, because it gums them up and then water doesn't get in. So that's why it looks a bit dirty. It's because I've gunked up all the holes with this stuff, so there's no gaps. This here fits around your scope. That's where your scope tube goes, and you do it up with this. Now, I must say here, I tried to get mine to work on shotguns and mountain bikes and did all sorts of messing about, and I broke this here. And I phoned them, and then I lost this bit. That fell off in the dark, and that was that. I phoned Clulite, told them what had happened. They were most interested, and they said, I'll tell you what we'll do, we'll knock you one up in metal as well. So even though you're probably abusing it, no, they didn't say that, but even though, you know, it didn't look like it was really their fault, they knocked me one up in metal, put it in the post, and a plastic one, and 2 of those end bits, no questions asked. Now that's quality, that. I was really impressed by that. So here's me with my Flash custom metal screw here, onto my clamp, very versatile, easily goes from one rifle to another, or of course you can be extravagant and put one of these on each of your rifles. Very, very configurable. Lovely beam adjustment. I mean, it really does go very wide, and it goes to a nice spot, and there's no hole in the beam. There's no, when you're looking through the scope, there's no bits that aren't so clean, and different levels of contrast. It just gives you light, so a clean flat pattern, a bit like an LED, but that lovely warm yellow lamp colour that really pops the eyes out, or it certainly does for me. The LEDs can be very blue and very icy, very frosty looking, and I do find it easier to pull things out with an incandescent bulb. And yet, you want a good beam, and generally you have to go very large to get a good beam. You need a 170 or something like that, and I can't bear something that huge on the top of the rifle. This SL2 for me really is the most versatile. It'll do flood, it'll do spot. It's hellish compact, barely bigger than the LED ones. It is bigger, but look at this by comparison. You see? Glass, waterproof, quality, modular, backed up by no questions asked support, custom cables to your needs, and not horrendously expensive.